Hey Booktube, it's Tara. I am back and I am here to do the Black Booktuber Tag. I was tagged by Karen at K the Reader, and I was also tagged by Dean at Novelist Dean, her Booktube channel. So I was tagged by two people to do the exact same tag. I'm very excited to do it. Thank you ladies for tagging me. I'm gonna be looking down on my iPad to answer the questions because I don't know them by heart, obviously. So question number one is, tell us a little about yourself. My name is Tara. This is my Booktube channel and it's fairly new. I started my Booktube channel back in January of this year, 2020, so it's only 6 months old. I'm enjoying it so far. I live in Indiana. I live in like a suburb of Indianapolis. And that's all and I am a mom of a soon-to-be 10-year-old little boy named Elijah. Second question is, who's a Black author you love that a lot of people don't know about? So I do watch a lot of Black booktubers, and I have yet to see the majority of them speak about maybe Ashley Antoinette's books. I know Comfy Cozy Up, she has read the Epic series as well as Butterfly. There may have been some others as well that have talked about it, but I don't see a lot of people talking about Ashley Antoinette, so that'll be my answer for that question. Number three is, favorite book about the Black experience. I am going to choose Slay. My light is kind of strong, by Brittney Morris. And this book follows a young girl in high school, I believe, who starts her own video game, creates her own video game as a safe space for Black people. And something happens as a result of her creating this video game. She's then slapped with a lawsuit and racial tension. She doesn't know who to trust. There's so much about the Black experience, about microaggressions, about what it means to be young and Black, have natural hair. They mention Hotep in this book. It's so Black, but it's so good because it truly speaks to what it means to be young and Black in today's society. So I loved it. Favorite book by a Black author. I'm going to choose Children of Blood and Bone. It's light, I tell you. By Tomi Adeyemi. This is a Booktube favorite. I've seen so many people talk about Children of Blood and Bone. If you don't know the story, it follows a young girl named Zelly, whose culture of people, whose tribe, their magic has been stripped away from them. And so it goes on this adventure for her to reclaim her power, reclaim her magic, and take back their rightful throne or place within their particular country. There's a lot more to the story, obviously, but that's just like my cliff notes. Very good book. I heard the second book, Children of Virtue and Vengeance, wasn't as good, so I have that on my shelf as well. I'm not looking forward to reading it just because I've heard so many iffy reviews about it. Number four is favorite book by a Black author. I'm going to go with a book called Heavy by Kiese Laymon. And this is an autobiography, memoir type book written in prose about a young African-American boy, Kiese, and his struggles as being a young African-American boy, overweight, dealing with what that means, dealing with growing up with a single mother, dealing with growing up in an environment that doesn't necessarily cater to the uplift of people that look like him. I listened to this book on Audible. It was beautifully told and beautifully written, and the content is very heavy because it does deal with sexual traumas and abuse and weight issues, insecurities. There's so much that he touches upon as being a young African American man living in his environment, especially in this country, and I thoroughly enjoyed listening to it, and I would definitely listen to it again. I believe I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Recommend a Black queer book. The Stars and the Blackness Between Them by Janauda Petris. Beautifully written book. This is her debut novel, and she knocked it out of the park. I gave this book, I believe, 5 out of 5 stars. I listened to it on Libby, and I read along as well. It follows 2 young Black girls who are coming of age and discovering themselves as queer, lesbian, gay, and what that means to them personally, to their, with their families, how they're navigating that situation, how they, grow to fall in love, but also deal with a tragedy that befalls one of the young women. So, and then there's some other storylines that kind of happen and interweave in and out the story as well. So, but it was beautifully written, beautifully told. One of the girls is from Trinidad, I believe, and the author, Janauda Petris, got her accent, got her pronouns, got her dialect right and on point. It was so authentically written, and I think that's why I loved it so much and gave it 5 out of 5 stars. So I definitely recommend that for a Black queer read. Recommend a book with a Black person on the cover. I can recommend several. I already held up Children of Blood and Bone, that has a Black person on the cover. Slay, Black person on the cover. Kingdom of Souls, beautiful book, Black person on the cover. Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky, 5 out of 5 stars. That is an excellent adventure. Black people on the cover. Either one of those. Recommend a book by a Black author that makes you happy. I'm going to say Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky just because I just finished it and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. This was an epic adventure that dealt with, if you're into mythology, this deals with kind of like Black mythology, Black folklore, and Tristan's adventures with John Henry and High John and Brer Rabbit and Gum Baby and all of these characters that are a part of our history and our folklore and our own mythology, and just the grand adventure that they went on. So, excellent book. I loved it. My favorite thus far. Recommend some Black booktubers. I'm going to put a list of Black booktubers that I follow and watch and love in the description box, but I'll name them for the sake of this video. The ones that will be in my description box are Brianka J, Diamond's Literary World, Monique from Monique's Book List, Freya, The Introverted Dandelion, Tamara from My Fictional Worlds, Karen, K the Reader, Dean, Novelist Dean, Belinda from Belinda's Book Nook, Infinite Pages. I believe she is Hispanic, but I'm throwing her in the pot because, yeah. And Sandra from Pull Down the Moon. Talk about a book by a Black author that is coming in 2020. I guess that I'm looking forward to. I'm going to take it that way. I'm looking forward to the book Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. I have read all 3 of her prior books and love them. Her writing style, her storytelling is phenomenal. I heard that Grown loosely follows the storyline of R. Kelly and maybe child pedophilia, molestation, pornography. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm definitely looking forward to this book coming out. Not necessarily for the content, but just because I'm a huge fan of Tiffany D. Jackson, plus the cover is gorge. And lastly, number 10 is to tag some Black booktubers. Every Black booktuber that I named previously that is down in the description box, with the exception of Karen from K the Reader and Dean from Novelist Dean, because those 2 women have already done the tag and have tagged me personally. So everyone else, tag. So that wraps up my video and this tag. Thank you again, Karen. Thank you again, Dean, for tagging me in this. I love doing it. I had to pull some books off my shelf to find and kind of reread the questions to see what I can come up with for this tag. So I'm looking forward to those of you that I have tagged, pushing this tag forward with other Black booktubers. So thanks again, guys, for watching, and I will talk to you in the next one. Bye.